So you remember when we talked about Mandela effects? I think the first time you spoke to me, Sam, and I asked you, you remember Jane Goodall? The
Yes.
Okay. And you have it recorded in your episode where I asked you about different Mandela effects. And I asked you, Jane Goodall, if you remember that she passed. And you said you remember that she did. And we talked about her passing and how everybody was talking about her passing on Facebook and Twitter, etc., and giving her condolences. That was years ago when you and I talked. Jane Goodall has passed again in 2025.
Right. Isn't that crazy? It's on record too, dude.
It's on record.
Tinfoil hat.
Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Revolution will be podcasted.
Guys, welcome to Tinfoil Hat Live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. That's right, Wolfpack Gold. Just go to samtripoli.gold, use the promo code TINFOIL, and you too can get in on the Precious Metals game for as little as $50 a month. Precious Metals sent right to your house, and you'll hear a little bit more about that later. But listen, today is a huge day. You know, we're hurling towards the big 1,000th episode, sold out in Austin. Very excited for the show. But we have one of my favorite guests of all time, one of just such an important person in my spiritual growth. We're very excited to have her back. Please welcome Buddhist author Von Galt. How are you, Von?
I'm doing wonderful. I am so excited to come back. It's been a while since we've spoken.
Years.
Yeah, and I've watched the evolution and the expansion of Tinfoil Hat, and it's been wonderful to see. Your audience has a very large amount of enlightened individuals.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So this is most appropriate that we talk about Moksha and Nirvana.
Oh, I'm so excited, Von. Just to let you know, as Johnny told you off air, I talk about you all the time. You're a big part of my spiritual awakening. So we just had a couple, like I'd say 2 weeks ago, a man named Matt LaCroix. Matt does ancient symbolism and all these archaeology sites. And so we had a moment where he came on, and then a couple episodes later, you came on, and you guys are talking about the same thing, but from different perspectives. One was from science, I guess, and yours is from a spiritual point of view. And it was amazing how much it overlapped each other. It really opened my mind that, okay, there's something out there that maybe, I didn't understand. So I really want to thank you for that, and you've talked about Jesus and how he's in one of the Buddhist temples, all that stuff. So before we begin, Von, I always like to give the guest an opportunity to promote whatever they got going on, whether it's their website or anything. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, so you can find all of my work on my website, which is Merkaba, MERKABA, chakras, like your chakras, CHAKRAS, merkabachakras.com, and that's where you can find all of my content. And basically how I got into this is I am Laos, and I was raised in the Buddhist tradition. But as a child, instead of sitting there and listening to temple talk about how not to create karma and come back and do this reincarnation cycle over again with life lesson after life lesson, I kind of got bored and kind of got it. All right, don't be a douchebag in this lifetime. Perfect. Don't create bad karma, because you're going to have to come back and fix it. Souls can't leave things unsettled. So forgive, let go, etc., all that good stuff. We all know this, but it's harder to practice it in real life. So I got bored of that and I wandered off and looked at the artwork at the different temples and monasteries that I grew up going to. And they all have, you've seen this in every single Buddhist temple, you've seen it in Hindu temples as well. They all have the same imagery and artwork. And the artwork basically says the same thing in many different master teachers' depictions of the message. And the message is, you chose to reincarnate or even incarnate for the first time from a previous experience of a life somewhere in existence, whether it's in the spirit world, whether it's in a different planet as an ET being, whether it's in a different dimension, whether it's just your first time ever incarnated into the physical from spirit. Whatever your background, you incarnated or reincarnated into the earth experience for this unique game that we are running through. So the problem with the earth reincarnation cycle of the wheel of dharma that's just going out, come back in, going out, coming back in, going out, coming back in, is that if you don't liberate yourself from this cycle, you're just going to be infinitely going through this rotation, and it splinters your soul, it fractures your essence, because it's just a constant cycle. So there is a way out of this cycle of reincarnation, and that is what they call in Hindu moksha, or in Buddhism they call nirvana. And we're going to get a little bit more into nirvana, but you have to understand what samsara is. What is this? How is this game played? So it's very advanced teachings, and it really makes you look at yourself, like, how much are you addicted to samsara? How addicted are you to the wheel of dharma? Are you ready to really let it all go and return to source, return to the essence of our Lord, God, universe, whatever you want to call it? So that's basically what all the artwork depicted, and all the different teachers say the same exact thing. So that's how I got into this work. And then I spent over 20 years doing research into quantum physics, metaphysics, all the different energy healing modalities, and medical research in new advances in light and sound frequencies. And all that information is in my 3 Buddhism books, all works cited and referenced to different sources as well, medical and universal. So that's kind of how I got into this work. And I'm looking forward to talking a little bit more about this particular topic.
I'm very excited to talk about this. You know, Johnny grew up Christian. I mean, going to church. I've always believed in Jesus. You were Catholic, right?
Yeah, Catholic.
You know, when you guys start hearing a little bit about reincarnation, is there a space for you to talk about that based on your what you learned in your life?
Are you talking to me? Or talking to Johnny?
I'm talking to Johnny and XG. Is there a place for you guys to be able to have that conversation?
If you believe in heaven, I mean, technically no, because you're supposed to go straight up there.
Okay.
And reincarnation, you come back as another being. I mean, it depends on what. You can come back as another person, or like a dog. You've heard the theory where you come back as a dog if you're a shitty person, or an animal, which is not in my. I mean, when you believe in God, you go to heaven.
Johnny, is that your belief as well?
Yeah, although I will say I have always had an instinct that, and this is a continual source of disturbance for me personally, that the things I've done I will do again. So I've always felt that way. Like a deep down, like, oh, I'll end up doing this again somewhere. So like eternal recurrence or whatever that.
Yeah,
talked about by the philosophers.
I find it interesting. You know, the more and more I dig deep, the more and more I start to understand that there's a lot more out there than maybe I've been taught.
Maybe you get the choice, you know? Maybe it's what your belief system is.
You know, and just like how many people had near-death experiences come on the show and be like, I saw my life judgment. Life was, I got to experience my life judgment. And so that makes me think there's more to it. And again, when we have these conversations, nobody's challenging anybody's belief system. We're just having a conversation. You know,
like the only time I felt like that was like a deja vu. You've had that moment where you're like, have I been here before?
Yeah.
And that's the time where like reincarnated. I was like, why I feel like I've had this conversation with this person before.
Well, that would be even more like eternal. Nietzsche talked about this idea of eternal recurrence, where everything gets repeated exactly the same forever. That's
scary.
That's what. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I will give you guys a little bit of because there's a couple of different experiences, but first let's understand some of the signs that you yourself will liberate from the reincarnation cycle. Okay, and there's actual signs that you can measure in your current life to know that your soul will eventually break free from this reincarnation cycle and move on to other experiences. Okay, so compressed time. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with compressed time or having the experience like maybe you go through your medicine at night that you take regularly or your vitamins that you take regularly, which is what I do. And my husband and I, we have the same bedtime routine. No difference. And I would go through my medicine pills, and I have it marked as different days. So there's my set of vitamins for different days. And I would go through and I would be missing days at different times. And I would wonder, wait a minute, how did I miss a day? How did I miss 3 days this time? I do this every night. And those are signs of compressed time where you're jumping forward into time. Or you'll go and walk down the street, your normal path, you see a plant that you always see, and the next time you do it, like the next day, that plant is 5 feet wider all of a sudden. And you're like, wait a minute, how did it grow a couple years or a couple months? And so those occurrences, or this is a very common one. It'll typically take me about 30 minutes to drive from one location to another location. And I will all of a sudden drive that same path in 10 minutes. And so how did I miss? It's the same traffic. It's the same distance. I've taken this route for years. It's always consistent. And how did I skip and move there so fast? So these are what I call compressed time experiences. Now, there's a lot of theories. Maybe you were abducted by aliens. Maybe you just lost track of time, et cetera, et cetera. But it happens so often, and it's just a symptom, in my perspective, of Mandela effects. So you remember when we talked about Mandela effects? I think the first time you spoke to me, Sam, and I asked you, you remember Jane Goodall?
Yes.
Okay. And you have it recorded in your episode where I asked you about different Mandela effects. And I asked you, Jane Goodall, if you remember that she passed. And you said you remember that she did. And we talked about her passing and how everybody was talking about her passing on Facebook and Twitter, etc., and giving her condolences. That was years ago when you and I talked. Jane Goodall has passed again in 2025.
Right. Isn't that crazy? It's on record too, dude.
It's on record. You and I had this conversation about her passing and how she lived a wonderful life, et cetera, et cetera. And it had nothing but good accolades for what she left with us. She passed again in 2025. How does that happen?
Wait, why were you talking about her then?
Because she had passed, and I was
just for that reason. Oh, okay, interesting.
I was asking Sam questions about the Mandela effect because we were bringing up that topic, and I asked him about just different things that he remembered. And one of the things that I asked is about Jane Goodall and her passing. And at that time, she had passed as well.
And then she was popping up everywhere, talking about really weird stuff like there's too many people. Like she was like at WEF meetings talking about basically eugenics and stuff like that. Isn't that weird?
It's crazy. This lady can't stop dying and you're talking about eugenics.
I was about to say, 3 years from now, are we going to be like, go look at that episode of today and be like, she died again?
That would be something.
That would be hilarious.
That would be
I think it's hilarious. The only thing that I will take is how I like to remember is that she did do a lot of wonderful things. And if she's here a little bit longer, that just means that we get her presence a little bit longer. And I think that's a positive thing. But
No,
if
I'm
the
with
version,
you, dude. I'm
yeah,
with you.
if
I
the
didn't mean to be
version,
negative on that,
oh
but
yeah,
it was
yeah,
like, it was just like, that's where I remember her speaking again. It's like, that's crazy to me.
Because that's the one that started, right? Mandela, people thought he was dead, but he wasn't dead. He died in
They
this.
remember him having a funeral and everyone's celebrating it, and then suddenly he's like, he's.
You know, I'd love to know is whether people in South Africa, where he means a lot more than the United States, whether they have also observed that phenomenon. Do you know what I mean? Like, because that would be like saying, like, oh, George W. Bush is dead.
The only thing close to that
the
is
shitty version of him,
Ruth Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah, where they're like, she's dead, and then suddenly they're like, oh, but she's gonna vote again, and then she died again. That's the only time.
That's because she was a zombie, though, Sam. That's totally different. They needed her to be.
But that might be a more blatant version of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
no, you're right.
yeah. And then the other thing is, I went to the Grand Canyon with my husband, and we were going through all the temples, like the Isis temple, and all these Egyptian names, temples or mountain sites at the Grand Canyon. And I was talking with my husband, and we were looking at comparison to Egypt and the pyramids of Giza and all of the relics there. And in every single picture, they on the headdresses they have two snakes, but I always remembered them having one on the headdress growing up and everywhere else. So all of a sudden now there's two. So you're gonna notice those ironic things that happen in your life and in your reality. So I say that some people are part of the simulation, and others who are self-aware are just navigating through the simulation. Just kind of how Yeshua said, be of this world, observe, but don't be part of it. Okay, be able to navigate through, I guess, the matrix, you could say.
I just want to say that, I don't mean to cut you off, but I really do agree with that statement. More and more I study this, the more and more I'm just like, there are just some people that are incapable of really taking a look at what's going on around them. They just are not wired to question authority. They're not wired to question like coincidences and all that stuff. And like, I hate using the term NPC because it like minimalizes people, but there's definitely something between awaken and being asleep, I guess.
And do you think some NPCs are forever NPCs, or do you think you can rewire them?
Well, we'll get into that. I would like to ask her that, because I do think that you can wake up. I do think something can snap you into, but so I'm sorry that cut you off. You were
no, it's fine. The children these days, they call them NPCs. Back in the olden days, they would call them sleepers. Sleepers. I think in the Bible they call them sleepers, or the sheep. The sheeple is a kind of like a combination.
That's very popular right now. Yep, for sure.
I've been saying that for decades, but now it became popular, so I changed it up. But anyway, so we've established the concept of Mandela Effects. We've all acknowledged a wonderful Miss Jane Goodall returning again, leaving, returning again, and leaving again. And it would be funny if the next time we talk, this happens again. So it would be a recurring thing. It would be funny. But anyways, so if you are experiencing these different symptoms of awakening and raising your frequency, it means that your soul does liberate from reincarnation. So let's go through what is the reincarnation cycle from the perspective of Buddhism. And they've actually found this with the Monroe Institute, and a lot of government remote viewers have found this. They're very disturbed by it, but if you understand it from the Buddhist perspective of the same thing, it will give you a little bit more peace. So you can look this up. A lot of government remote viewers have gone through and explored consciousness, our reality, etc. And they've all come through with the same thing. One, we live in basically a holographic reality. And the user is the awakened people who are feeding it instructions, who are feeding it its consciousness and whatever they're working on or focusing on. That's what's building physicality. The quote, quote, sleepers, NPCs, etc., their consciousness is not as high frequency, so it's not contributing as much. This is background. Like Dolores Cannon, a hypnosis author and practitioner, and she has a whole school. They're background people. They fill the game. Okay, so what happens is a lot of people, when they decease, their spirit leaves, but their spirit is not high enough frequency to completely understand and let go of the game. They've kind of become addicted to samsara. Samsara is like the wheel of dharma. It's the life cycle of birth, life, rebirth, life, birth, life, reincarnation. So they've kind of got addicted to samsara, and there's different ways in which people are addicted. And so there is some kind of energy field that you have to break through. And if you don't break through it, because your consciousness is too low, you get easily sucked back in and you reincarnate again. And hence now you're the granddaughter of yourself. Or you see your great uncle reincarnate somehow. It's very familiar to your new nephew. It's like, God, this kid looks a lot like Uncle Bob and acts a lot and all that kind of stuff. So you hear those family stories because usually people choose to come back to their families that they recognize. So there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. But not everybody wants to continue to come back and do Groundhog's Day over and over again, reliving in different ways how to forgive, how to not cause negative karma for self, how to not cause just different things between people that they have to come back and resolve. So that is what is happening. And it's not the religion that brings you back. It's not your perspective on reality that brings you back. The things that bring people back is typically, and I found this with my hypnosis sessions as well, when we speak to deceased loved ones of my clients. What brings them back is ultimately love for their family, okay? For their children, for their grandchildren, their descendants. And they want to come back and they want to take care of them. They want to make sure that they're okay. Maybe they want to return the favor. I don't know. But everybody has different reasons for why they love somebody so much that they come back to basically be with them. They can't let them go. The other thing is they come back to right a wrong. Okay, maybe they wrong something and they want to make it right. Okay, so maybe a serial killer comes back and reincarnates into another situation where he makes that right for those families or that community, or somebody who's swindled the public in a community a lot of money and scammed them. They want to come back in that community and correct their wrong. So a lot of those things, we kind of call them hungry ghosts, and there's kind of they want to come back and they want the chance to fix the issues that they created. So there's a lot of those make right what you did wrong, all of those remorse and regret that pulls them back, because that's what's holding down their frequency. So the other thing is a lot of them that just have a very hard time forgiving. And whatever they did, however bad they see it, that they did, they can learn from it. And if they can't correct it in this lifetime, they can forgive themselves and forgive others, let go of the anger that it caused themselves and others. And then when they do reincarnate, if they choose to reincarnate, they're going to fix it, but then just don't start any new stuff. Okay? So those are typically some of the most common reasons why souls get pulled back instead of moving forward and going and being with God and kind of coming back to the fold. Also, and I found this with my hypnosis as well, and so have many thousands and thousands of QHHT hypnosis practitioners have found many of the same things with their hundreds of thousands of clients over the years. There are souls that decided to come into the Earth existence for this specific time. Those souls are what they call in Buddhism Tulku. Okay, they're former ET souls, or they're former source code souls. So like my one of my math teachers is Dr. David R. Hawkins.
Yes.
Okay, he did the map of consciousness. So he's a source code soul. And a source code soul is one who existed very happily on the other side with source, doesn't really have any interest in ever incarnating into physicality, into any of the games or any of the, I don't know, they don't like me to call it games, but any of the sojourns. But he was brought into this reality, and he woke up into the body of a like a 3 or 4-year-old in the snow, and his father was begging him to come back, and because they had some kind of car accident, and he heard that. And then he came back, and then ever since then he remembered everything. He's like, "Why am I here? I was fine with God. I was fine. I didn't want to be part of this experience. I had no interest in being human." But he was sent because he was to do his mission, which was to raise consciousness. And all starseeds, or Tulku, whatever you want to call them, they have the same mission, which is to raise consciousness. Okay, and when you raise consciousness, what happens is your frequency goes up, and any of the negative stuff has been resolved, it's been healed, et cetera, et cetera. But as your frequency goes up, that's what they call the ascension. You're raising, you're ascending your frequency. And why that is important is because each frequency has a matching reality. Okay, so if you raise your frequency, you're going to match a higher version of reality with the same or similar set of people, but they're just slightly a higher version of themselves.
A lot to break down here. I want to just go back just a tiny bit. So you had your professor, your teacher, he incarnates into a child. So my question to you is, so let me just make this real quick. So we've seen stories, we've talked to many guests on the show about demons trying to kind of inhabit human beings or vessels, right? We see a lot of that. They want to get into our bodies, replace our souls and stuff like that. So is it possible that someone from Source can suddenly, almost like Quantum Leap, the TV show, jump into a sleeper? We'll call them sleep. I don't like NPCs, but jump into a sleeper and suddenly take over the sleeper. Is that possible?
So there has been cases, and I've spoken to some of these clients as well, where they do a switch. The soul does a switch, and it is a agreement between souls. So, for example, I had a client who had an aneurysm. And when she came out of the hospital, she was a completely different personality, had completely different tastes, and had no recollection of her previous self. She used to date a particular type of guy, and now she completely dates the opposite. She likes things that are completely different than her previous self. Her family and children don't recognize her behavior. And she says, "I'm not the same person. I had switched souls for this body to complete this person's life journey because it had gotten too difficult for them. So I am completing their coursework." That's what they call kind of trading spaces.
Oh, just like the movie, right? They kind of flip into each other's stuff. Guys, I'm telling you right now, we're having a nice little run on crypto. And if you want to figure out what's the next crypto you want to get into, I got to tell you, our man, James McMahon, and Copy My Crypto is the right place to go. Trust me, we can get back to the Wild West of crypto when everybody was just running and gunning and making some money. If you want to get back to that, James McMahon is the man who's going to lead you through that. So let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. Does it piss you off to watch crypto fly up in price for over a decade and you've still done nothing about it? Yeah, it makes sense. Crypto is complicated and really boring. But here's the good news. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or to make money like so many have. The copymycrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. You just simply copy along. So let me tell you about James, okay? He runs Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has like 100,000 followers on it, like subscribers. It's unbelievable. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put in $100 in each one, it went on to be worth over $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one he singled out, called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said, okay? That one call alone retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go on YouTube and verify this yourself. So if you'd like to join the over 3,000 members who copy James, then pause what you're doing and head right over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I've said, but our viewers get full access for just $1. Okay? Yes, you missed out on Bitcoin. That's fine. You can even get a little piece, but don't even worry about that. But there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of them? Guys, don't waste any more time, okay? Go to the site and read it for yourself. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/tinfoil hat. It's ended money worries for so many. It just may do the same for you. And we thank him for sponsoring the show. Hey guys, do you have a dog? Of course you do. And do you love your dog? Obviously. And sometimes our dogs get allergies and we don't know what to do. Well, there's one place to go that is the best at dealing with that, and that is our good friends at Better Wild. Let me tell you about Better Wild. Hey guys, your dog's health is just as important as your health, and that's why we love our friends at Better Wild, okay? Listen, I've been focusing a lot on my health lately, but then it hit me that I should probably be putting the same energy into my dog's health too, okay? You'll start to notice weird behaviors. Like my dog is like itching and scratching and rubbing sometimes. Roger's slowing down and not wanting to play as much. And I go, listen, these are not normal dog behaviors. They really are actually signs of allergies, okay? What I've learned is that allergies in dogs often start in the gut when things get out of balance internally. It can show up everywhere and anywhere in issues with their skin, ears, digestion, and energy. Just like us, dogs need good bacteria to strengthen their gut health and calm an overactive immune system. That's what led me to Better Wild Allergy Relief Soft Chews. They designed to support your pet's allergy defenses by strengthening digestion and helping restore balance from the inside. They are in the first and here we go.
3, 2.
They're the first and only chews with ancestral advantage wolf probiotics and natural ingredients proven to help reduce itching and support gut immune and skin health. Okay, so instead of just covering things up, you're actually supporting your dog at the source. And we all love our dogs. And we want them to be as healthy as they can be. And this is a great way. You know, dogs would eat anything. Hand them a beautiful Better Wild chewable chew. And dude, watch this dog get better. Watch its immune system and its gut get better, because that's what Better Wild does, okay? Better Wild is committed to helping your dogs with clinically proven, veterinarian-approved solutions that you can feel great about, okay? Right now, Better Wild is offering our listeners up to 40% off your order at betterwild.com/tinfoil. That's betterwild.com/tinfoil for up to 40% off your order. betterwild.com/tinfoil. And we thank them for sponsoring the show. Okay, so this is a little bit more, I don't know, darker, but there's times I think that a lot of the chaos you see in the news and stuff and the gore and all that is involving these sleepers. Like they're like, it's almost like they are there to add texture to the experience. I know that sounds very dark and very weird, but everything for me is downloads and feel. And I got that download that, like, when you see a horrific crime happening on the news, that might involve, unless it's their soul contract, involve sleepers. Is there anything to that, do you think?
Yeah. So, like I said, a lot of these quote, quote, sleepers are low frequency individuals that are not fully immersed in the experience and awakened within their body. So your body is a machine and it's powered by your soul's energy. And if the machine is not fully powered up, it's easily manipulated. Okay. It gets easily swayed and it gets easily kind of pulled to do things. I just wanted to say, because I was talking to a homeless guy a while back ago, and he was yelling at himself, and I was like, why do you yell at yourself? And he's like, I just can't get these voices out of my head. And I said, why don't you start cussing it out? Like, really get angry, because they can't stand when you're that force of anger, and it can't stand cussing. So he did that, and it went away. He said, oh my God. That worked.
So when you hear voices, start screaming at the voices?
Cuss them
And
out.
start cussing them out.
I'm not sure that works in LA.
I've started doing that.
I've heard a lot of. I saw a guy punching himself in the face walking
I
down.
wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I mean, I literally saw him walking up La Brea, punching himself in the face, going, "Fuck you, fuck you!" Like, and punching himself. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, dude.
It's just so much trauma involved with getting
Oh,
to
it's
that,
horrible.
dude.
Yeah.
This is horrific. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just that I feel for them, dude.
I mean, properly hitting him, like spit was flying. I
like
felt
just
so
Mike
bad for you.
Tyson uppercuts.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He's got a good chin and a good punch. It's a real tough combo.
What will break first?
That's hard to witness. I would just pray
Very
for
much
those
so.
individuals. To be like, dude, I'm going to pray for you.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'm going to pray for you right now that your angels and all your loved ones come to help you and get over this.
Do you
So-
think that is a soul contract situation? Like they're in there, or were they knocked off their? Can you get knocked off your journey?
Yeah, you can get knocked off your journey. So they're called distractions. Okay, so everybody's case in why they incarnated is different. And I just want to say, for the Tulku Starseeds that have incarnated here for the first time or the first few times, who are here to raise consciousness and with their own 5D contribution in one way or another, their souls are protected by a white light around their aura field. And this is according to Dolores Cannon and thousands of other practitioners who have gathered the same information from their hypnosis clients. These ET beings know that Earth has a karma attached to it. So they came with a white light around them so that they don't, after the experience, don't have karma that pulls them back into the cycle. So they can finish their life here, and then they can move on to go wherever their soul wants to go in the ethers. They're not pulled back like an addict. So that's just something to notate, and that's why oftentimes starseeds are the easiest to forgive. They'll just give stuff to you. You don't need to say thank you for them. You don't need to give them a hug. They'll be like, oh, it's just a gift. Yeah, it's not a loan. You don't need to do anything back. That's what loans are, is if you expect somebody to say thank you or give you something equal back, that's a loan. There's a condition. If there's no conditions on unconditional love, that's a true gift. And so starseeds just do that easily and automatically. They'll just host neighborhood parties or potlucks or whatever and invite people for fun and don't expect them to reciprocate it at all in any way. You don't even have to invite them to your birthday parties or anything else, because they're just going to do it because that's just who they are. Very easy people to get along with. And karma just kind of falls off of them. So
That
just
is
FYI about that.
Yeah, expectations is a big part of like abundance, right? Like if you're expecting something back, then it's not really abundance. It's like give it away. It's hard not to talk about it because you want to be like, yeah, I just gave this guy, but you're not really supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to just give it away and not expect anything in return.
Yeah.
I never heard it called a loan versus a gift. Is that what you're saying? A loan?
Yeah, a loan and a gift. So if I give you a gift or I say, you give me a gift. Like your time and your energy and your attention is a gift. It's because you only have so much time in this lifetime, and you only have so much energy. You could be really dragging this interview, but you're present and you're on point. So your time to listen to somebody, to be their friend, to be present with them at whatever, even in this interview, that's a gift because of all the things that you could be doing. You chose to do that with me. So thank you for your gift of presence.
We love you, Von Galt.
Yeah. So gifts don't have to be physical because everything in physical is just energy and form anyway. So all of it is just basically energy and form. But you're giving a little bit of your energy to be present with somebody is a gift of your presence. And that's, you know, I would say thank you because that's who I am, because I thank everybody anyways. But how the person reacts is not anything for you. How the person reacts is a reflection of who they are. Okay. If they give you back a gift in return, like let's say you make a cobbler for your neighbor and they give you back the dish, which ironically in this day and age, not everybody knows to do that, but they give you back the dish. And even better, they give you back a dish with an apple pie that they made or cookies, whatever. That's a reflection of who they are. Okay. So that's kind of how a lot of tokus and starseeds naturally see things is we're just going to do stuff because that's who we are. And you don't have to say anything back. You can just flip us off and say, fuck you. And I've had somebody do that too. So I'm like, okay, no worries. And they thought that what I gave them was like poison or whatever. And I think this was during the pandemic. My son and I, we always cook because he's like a little chef. He likes to cook everything chocolate, everything. So I can't eat it all because it was too much sugar. So I always loaded up the wagon and walk down walk down the neighborhood and just start giving it away. Like pies and cobblers and cookies and brownies because he just likes to make it. It's make it. It's
I
always
gotta live near you.
I know everybody's fat. But anyways, everybody's working out too. But anyway, so we would just go through and just give it away. You walk by our house. Hey, how are you? Here, we'll give you some cookies, whatever. So people are just used to that, and that's just who we are. We have so much abundance. We just give things away, and some people were so paranoid that they would say, "Can you just put it at the door?" Instead of opening the door. And so we put it at the door, and then they would like get it in, and then they would text us, thanks for the cookies. But at first they were like, just throw it away because they thought it was not going to be like healthy to eat any non-grocery packaged foods from your neighbors. I don't know where that thought process is, but they were so afraid of the pandemic and the stuff going around that they thought that it was another way to transfer that virus. So we had some people who were just throwing things away. We're like, okay, that's what you want to do. But then eventually got over it and they like, oh, thanks so much. That was delicious. But everybody's going to react differently. And it's not anything about you. It's all about them.
Yeah.
And it's what they're working at.
Yeah.
It's what they're working on. It's their perception. And some people just are not used to just genuine kindness with no attachment at all. So these are just the common starseeds, and in a world where it's kind of chaotic and there's a lot of like deceiving and two-facing and all of that, they're like anomalies, and I hope they're not anomalies because we're going to get to that reality eventually, and it's already happening in different pockets. But I remember when I was speaking to you the first time, I told you when the Earth raised its frequency to 5D and above, and it's going to happen slightly, you won't notice it. Things are going to come up. Your demons, your skeletons in the closet, they're going to come up faster and faster to force you to deal with it. It's going to look kind of like hell on earth, but it's just like a construction zone. Always chaotic, so many playing parts, but eventually the house is built and it's a beautiful open house and a beautiful family comes in and lives in it, et cetera, et cetera. But that's what's happening to our reality.
No, I'm with you, Yvonne, and I'm just going to say this. I hate cutting you off because you're cooking with gas. But I do believe this fake alien invasion that's coming is a sign of desperation. I feel like that's their like, if things get really bad, we got this in our back pocket. And
You're talking Project Blue Beam. They're going to shoot that at
that's
us?
100% coming.
Yeah.
Johnny, what's that face you just
No,
made?
what, did you see Tim Dillon talking about it? He's like, get ready for the dumbest possible acting and we're just going to see.
I mean, the dude is one of one. Like I would love to know, are you writing that out or are you just spitballing, dude? Because it is so on point every fucking time. And he's like, these guys think everyone's going to come together like BLM and the Nazis are like, let's put down our differences, okay? And work together. Like, that's what you think's going to happen?
Yeah, the
like,
Bloods and the Crips just crossing lines.
Yes, fucking high-fiving each other, dude. Absolutely ridiculous, dude. But that's it. I think that is like smashing case of emergency. And they're at that point and they like, nothing's working. Nothing's working. Nothing is, it's like the old saying is like, authority has two things, lying and violence. And when lying doesn't work anymore, what do they got left? But I just think they don't even have that anymore. I think Johnny and I may have a different, there's so much coming out that makes me think everything is a shadow in the cave. Everything is just like the ticks are everywhere, the nuclears, and it's like everything's about kind of what Vaughn was just talking about, how her neighbors wouldn't come out and grab the cookies, like put the cookie down.
That's crazy.
Right? And it's like, what is that? That is trauma. Like it is so much about these dark magicians convincing you to stay home. Don't leave your house. Do not connect with your neighbors.
I'm just wondering how much of that is new. Because I remember when I was a kid, we were afraid to take candy from people because, we heard there were razor blades in the candy.
No, but what about
Unless it's Halloween.
That's
the
but
pagan holiday celebrating the dead, unless it's that day.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But the Adam Walsh thing even is all about, oh, dude, I can't let my kids out.
Exactly.
And now our kids are just indoors all day on their iPads. They're not interacting. Like my daughter rides her bike, but we can't really stretch it out here because there's no real place to learn how to ride your bike. So it's like all this is a psychological operation of disconnection. Like the death of malls. Like, there's things going on in society right now that as an 18-year-old kid, I would never even understand. Women not liking children, men not wanting to get laid. Sorry, Vaughn. And then people not going to the mall. People not going to the mall. Like, as a young guy, you're like, oh, where are all the girls at? The mall. Let's go talk to the girls.
It's on their phones now.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah.
to me.
Did you guys see? There was a young man who had a really good take on this on X. I have no idea who he was, but I watched the video where he was talking about how young people, like Gen Zers, aren't doing anything, like not dancing. The one thing he focused in on was like dancing, and it's because you're always being observed.
Yeah. You're always getting filmed all the time,
everywhere, and that has a devastating effect on your ability to try new things.
And snitching now is like...
it's the ultimate snitch, because if you fuck up, even if you're not fucking up at that moment, you're on camera, it's over. Your whole life is over, dude.
Like, there was this thing where there was, like, a grown man that was at the park, and he got on the swing and started swinging like a child. And they're like, if he knew he was being recorded, do you think he would do that? The answer is probably no.
Yeah.
But he was being recorded. It was a camera at a park. And you saw this grown man go into his inner child, get on the swing, and just swing. But if someone told him, there's someone watching you on the other side, do you think he would have done that?
It's weird.
We're always being watched, and it changes us. It changes us. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't, God
it's the
forbid.
observer effect, right? Now it's like, instead of having a person, now it's everyone's phone affects everyone's.
The guy compared it to the Panopticon prison that was brought up.
100%.
But it's also this, think about if you had been recorded, you have it used to be really important to try on an idea. As a young man, you would say things that maybe you didn't really have conviction on, but you wanted to see what it felt like, kind of explore the idea by just now. God forbid.
Well, they do it now, John. You got to think about it.
Get recorded as a kid.
Sam wants to perform and think about a brand new idea that might not work. Now the comedy club helps us out by taking people's phone away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that was
huge.
a big problem for a while.
Yeah, that's huge.
Every comedy club is doing it now. It's like you got to give, I call it bombing with dignity. You got to give people the chance to bomb with dignity and work it through. Because, like, I'm about to shoot my special May 22nd. The last bit about how everyone's an R word, right? That was going to go in the last special, but it wasn't polished. So imagine if someone filmed that and put it out and it's not polished. Now, how new it is. Like, comedy is about surprise. The surprise is gone. Right? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. It's like, we are in psychological warfare. We are in spiritual warfare, dude. And these source, I've said this forever, flat earth, round earth, whatever. I don't know. I think it's an energy vortex. I think the energy vortex could make it look like a planet. You know what I'm saying? Like from the outside, but it's like a plane and then it's got all this stuff going on. But you know what Vaughn's talking about is the manipulation of energy. Mm-hmm. And the elites know about this. They've hidden all this from us. I really do believe most of your wars are about sacrifice, making sacrifices to these dark entities, and the destruction of the old world and the hiding of the knowledge.
Yeah. So I'm going to fast forward to kind of like, what is the purpose? And there's many perspectives of this. So the thing is, and they found this in remote viewing with the Monroe Institute and military remote viewers, etc. And they've also found this in Buddhism for a very, very long time as well. So old things come up new again, which is fine. I don't care how you rebrand the same content, as long as it's still relevant and there are people who consume appropriate content. But the point is that there are beings in the Earth experience who cannot, not yet, raise their frequency enough to kind of move on. And so what they and their empire or minions or, race, whatever you want to call them, their species, what they do is in the greater realm of things, because Earth is one planet amongst many other planets and many other realities and many other dimensions. Okay, and humans can perceive up to 11 dimensions in our mind. So the thing is that humans, I call humans God's wild card creation, to see, okay, I'm going to get rid of all the playbooks, all the guides, everything else. Just going to throw you guys out in the wild and see if you quite find your way back home. Well, we usually find our way back home because our souls are a fractal expression of Source. So all of us are many expressions of Source. That's what lights us up and powers this body engine that we have. So we always find our way eventually back home. And the way to not find your way back home through the final doorway, through giving up everything, your identity, your attachment to your lover, or your children, your attachment to saving people, your attachment to, everything within creation, and just let it all go and go through the final doorway and return to Source and get reimmersed with Source. That's basically liberation in a nutshell. That's basically Nirvana. You reach Nirvana. But if you decide to go through Nirvana and you come back, it's because you've chosen to be a bodhisattva. So, John, your feeling of coming back, I don't know why I'm coming back, but then you get these different Mandela Effect, time compressions, these little signs that you have liberated. It's because you're coming back to do charity work to kind of help others raise their frequency and liberate as well.
Johnny's a liberator.
Yeah, you're a liberator. Yeah. So there you go. So like Kuan Yin, she's on the cover of my Buddhist mandalas book, Kuan Yin. And of course, Para, she's another ascended master in the realms where Yeshua and others are, like Buddha, etc. The difference between Kuan Yin and Buddha is just a Sanskrit word for Bud, which means to awaken within the matrix, awaken within the holographic reality. But Buddha never comes back because he liberates and stays there. Okay, he just stays with Source. And that's fine, because when somebody reaches the final doorway and exits the complete matrix, the game, they level everybody up as a result. So Yeshua did that, Buddha did that, all that. The difference between Kuan Yin is she has gotten up to the doorway but then looked back and said, you know what? I'm going to keep coming back to help everybody liberate because there's no better or worse. You're either on the other side of Source or you're here helping everybody else. Because either way, it's all existing within Source's consciousness. So you're always with God. You're just having different experiences within the consciousness of Source. So that's what Kuan Yin did. So she just comes back in different ways to help people. And that's what they call Bodhisattva. Okay, that's why you still have those inklings of and signs that you have liberated yourself or you know about liberation and you can always go to the other side, but you keep coming back to kind of help others get there as well. So those are Source's Bodhisattva. Okay, that's the difference between full liberation and being a Bodhisattva. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 100%.
So if this information is resonating with you, you're probably a Bodhisattva. So all three of you guys and your whole team are probably Bodhisattvas. So,
Ooh,
and you know,
nice.
and they have to level up the game because you figure out the strategy. So it's because they play this strategy and this strategy that you're talking about of like making everything chaotic, the alien invasion, all that, trying to get everybody to be in kumbaya. They did that in Lemuria. And it didn't work. So
That's interesting. That reminds me very much of that scene in The Matrix where the architect was talking about all the different versions that they did. And one version was absolutely perfect. They had no problems. Everything was perfect. And everyone was miserable. Lately, I've been more intentional about what I wear day to day, leaning into pieces that feel easy, comfortable, and still put together. It just makes getting dressed simpler. Quince has been my go-to. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are clean, and everything just works without needing to overthink it.
Quince has all the wardrobe staples for spring. Think 100% linen cotton shorts and shirts for $34. Lightweight, breathable, and comfortable, but they still look put together. And clean 100% Pima cotton tees with a softness that has to be felt. Their pants also hit that same balance. They're relaxed and comfortable, but they're still polished enough to wear pretty much anywhere. Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're getting premium materials without the markup.
Guys, look at, we're on the website right now. Look at those shorts. That's nice. The shirts. They got everything for a whole new look, a whole new you. You know, if you want to be a lady killer, guys, they got the clothes for you. Everything is stunning. Stunningly gorgeous, low prices. You don't have to sacrifice quality for low prices.
The best socks I own are from Quince.
Dude, look at those. Look at those
cashmere
pants,
socks
dude.
are amazing.
What, are you ready to just go to some gala looking good like that?
You could go to the Met Gala.
Go to the Met Gala. You'll be dressed better than everybody else. I'll tell you that right now.
That's the truth.
Unbelievable. So here's what we need you to do, dude. Refresh your everyday with luxury you actually use. Head to quince.com/tinfoil hat for free shipping on your order and a 365-day return. Now available in Canada too. So all you smoke show ladies up there that I love, you can find some nice outfits out there too. Go to quince.com/tinfoil hat for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/tinfoil hat, and we thank them for sponsoring the show.
And that's the other reason why souls on the other side, sometimes they come back for the Bodhisattva journey because they're like, oh, it's been a while since I've kind of like missionaries. It's been a while since I've done a mission. I might as well do one. So souls will sometimes go, I'll do a mission. Like I'm on a mission. So to come back and do this and bring this knowledge back to you guys. But if you are in the lifetime that you hear this knowledge, it will stick with you and you will eventually return to source. Return to the spiritual emptiness, the void, what they call it, of God. I have no problem with that word, so I just say it. But source as a neutral term. But so that's basically in a nutshell what the wheel of Dharma, the reincarnation cycle. Samsara is another word for it, and then leaving the attachment to all that, letting go of everything, your identity, your concept of one-on-one love with your spouse and your children, letting go of everything because you know that's all basically created for the experience, to return to source and get re-emerge and absorb with source. So, and that essence, in essence, is nirvana. You finally reach nirvana. You're liberated from the game. You're done playing the game. So if you do come back, you're just doing a mission. You're just doing a bodhisattva mission. Now, bodhisattvas, they kind of already know what's going on. They kind of have an inkling because they studied this on the other side. So it's really hard to kind of mess with a bodhisattva because they already know what's going to happen around the corner. So they are going to level up to different ways to kind of stump you and try to bring you back in. So, it's the most interesting freak show I've ever heard of. So I don't know what else to say it.
Vaughn.
So.
In this environment that we're in, this energy field, there seems to be dark forces at work.
Yes.
Your view of everything, what is the purpose? Do those dark forces exist in your view? And what is their purpose? Why are they here?
So there is high, low, right, left. Without the low, there is no high. Without the right, there is no left. Okay? For the positive, there has to be a little bit negative. It has to have contrast. That's how creation happens. Now, you don't have to be as bad. You can be a little bad, but not as bad. Now, in the Earth experience, we've allowed certain people to take it so far into the bad. Like the contrast is so stark. The thing is that because they're taking it so far into the darkness and the deaths at a time where frequency and earth ascension and starseeds are incarnating, it's going to, like a rubber band, spring the solution very quickly. You're going to see things kind of turn very, very quickly. So that's kind of the effect of the boomerang effect of this time period. So because the starseeds are here to kind of usher in the next wave of humanity, which is interstellar. I've been saying this for a long time. Interstellar. And interstellar includes beings that is of a little higher frequency than us, naturally, what you would call ETs. You don't see them now because you're in lower frequency, but as the earth ascends and frequency of humanity ascends and people ascend in their frequency, certain peoples will see them. So I see them all the time. There's like pink clouds in the middle at like midnight all the time around where I live, and I see stars moving around, coming over, whatever. So I see them all the time. I've had dreams and recalls of different ET beings all the time. I say, would I do my podcast again? Because right now I'm kind of like taking a pause to focusing on other projects for future projects. I want to interview you guys. So I don't just want to interview your star seeds. And I get a lot of those star seeds in my hypnosis practice that are coming in to find out which planet did I incarnate from, Arcturian, Pleiadian, blah, blah, blah. What was that life experience like, etc. And then what am I doing here as a human? It just feels really strange. People are strange. Everything is strange. They just feel like they don't belong. I mean, they're basically travelers, but they're part of this reality. And that was the rule of Earth, is that it's like the prime directive. You can't tell them the answer, but you can be one of them and show them the answer. That's not breaking the rule of how they evolve naturally. So I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. I understand. I have these, we'll call them dark sorcerers, right?
They're going to raise their frequency too. They're just not going to be as bad. So like, let's say Easting. Okay. So, this is a really great example. The lower version of reality of him is all the earmarks that He's so bad that even in the files, there was a file recording of him talking to a spiritual author, Dr. Deepak Chopra. And he was so bad that he even said, hey, they don't want to talk to you. Your proclivities are a little bit too disgusting in that kind of way. So even little demons don't even want to talk to him because he grosses them out so much. So,
but is he part? Is he a soul, or are these masters of mankind? We'll call them. Are they part of the energy field experience? Did they make bad decisions? Did they choose the darkness or the lower vibration, or were they positioned here as part of the experience?
So if they exist, they are a fractal expression of source. Now, the farther you get away from God's presence, source, the more low frequency, demonic, you want to say,
Yes.
satanic, all the earmarks of that stuff, the farther you get away from the light, the more in the depths you are. Now, if they come across this information, and because they're basically just lost children, and I'm not saying that that's an excuse, they are going to get their punishment. And eventually they do kind of break out of that and they move on, but they have infinity to figure it out and move on. But anyways, in short, the low frequency individuals, they can only manipulate low frequency people who aren't fully awake. So your sleepers, okay? They can only mess with those. The higher frequency individuals, if they try to mess with them, they will get burned. Okay? It's like trying to mess with a power plant. They will get scared and they'll move on because they want to continue to play their games. And these are very childish games. It's very easy to be destructive. It's much harder to be creative. And continue
I agree with
to go
that.
up.
They can't create. That's the whole thing forever.
Yeah.
They're
forever.
not creative. They're manipulators.
They're manipulators. Very easy work. So anyways, they usually stay away. So you Tokus, you Starseeds, you high vibe people, don't worry about them. Okay, they will stay away from you. And if one is stupid enough to mess with you, they're either get rehab, spiritual rehab, because they walked into the wrong temple, and they can't unsee or unfeel that frequency. So it would set them on the way to kind of rehab, spiritual rehab, or they will just be like, oh my God, don't mess with that person, because you mess with one, you mess with the whole community. Okay, so, but that's just the short. Usually I wouldn't even worry about them because they can't stand your frequency. You're toxic to them because you're not low enough frequency. But people who are sleepers in a very low frequency and are going to be easy pawns to be attracting this kind of beings and energies, and then it will just continue to bring more chaos and havoc. So a lot of broken relationships, a lot of abuse, you could just name the stuff. Those are the frequencies that they love and they bathe in, and that's the kind of stuff that they like to do. And the whole point of all this negative actions is when we pass on, whatever frequency we pass on, or even while we're living, we send out energies. Okay, so when you're really happy and you're really loving, people can feel that. If you're really angry and you're really negative, people can feel that. You don't have to say anything. So we do send out frequencies from our beingness, and they call it in metaphysical circles. Dr. Monroe found this out as well. They call it loosh. Okay, loosh. It's basically a type of energy, and that's why oftentimes when they're trying to abuse, younger beings, they would torment them very perversively because they generate a huge amount of loosh. Okay, I don't know why this loosh, but this loosh, or this energy that souls emit, when they collect enough of them through souls coming back through the reincarnation cycle over and over again, it creates this very potent energy that powers universes. Many universes, different universes. Okay, so higher beings, there is a struggle for higher beings in other realities, in higher dimensions of not manipulating the younger souls to extract their loosh for your own conquering of universes and creating new dimensions. So that's like a beyond conversation. For us who's present in this version of reality, the best thing is to not cause karma and negative karma. So you keep coming back producing more and more of that loosh. And then when you try to finally liberate yourself, your energy just becomes part of everybody else's energy, and it's just being manipulated and used for uh, creation of different universes. And whatever kind of universes they create, it's not always going to be hunky-dory. So there's a whole different master teaching conversation that many Buddhist senior monks have. But for the most part, we just like to keep it simple.
I find it all of it's so interesting, and
Okay.
it's so easy to get
It
lost.
is between
in the
good and
chaos.
evil.
It
In
is.
short.
Everything is good and evil. It really is.
Yeah, everything is short.
Everything is good and evil. That's
Yeah.
it. Light versus dark. And you brought up something.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple, because the people get too caught up in the weeds and logistics and naming, and
And you're
Simple.
so right. Where and I've been saying this forever. The farther you get away from God, the more your anxiety, your anger, your fear all starts to skyrocket. And I say this all the time. You can see a family that has God in their life versus atheist. Have you ever met a super happy atheist? Like that life is, maybe they're okay, they're comfortable, but very rarely are they really happy people. Really. And I know people that have had trauma in their life so bad that they can't believe in a God. And that is probably the most complex of all of these all this discussion is when really bad things happen to really innocent people. We don't understand how God will allow us that to happen. But and then you get into what is this journey? Like that FedEx guy who eliminated that little girl. Like, where is God in that story? It's so dark. You go, how's there a loving God, when a little girl loses her life to such a piece of shit? That's where the complexity comes.
Yeah, and so the thing is, everybody's situation is a case-by-case basis. And this is very controversial in Eastern philosophy as well, but it's found over and over again through so thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of case studies in Buddhism over and over again. And if we found this information in QHT and different types of hypnosis practices over and over again, the same thing. We pre-plan, whether you believe it or not, you pre-plan certain events in your life, okay? And certain things are going to happen because you pre-plan it for your soul's evolution. So as horrible as things are, sometimes the worst, like let's say you get the cancer, okay? Most people don't want to get cancer, but let's say you get the cancer. There are a lot of people who get the cancer and survive it and become they survive a traumatic event, but it is part of their awakening journey. They become happier. They have completely different outlook in life, and they contribute wonderful things. So I said this before, Susan G. Komen, for example, her sister had the cancer. If her sister never had the cancer, she would have never started the Susan G. Komen Cancer Foundation and helped many millions and millions of families go through that challenge in their life. But because her sister had that cancer and she went through that whole experience of her sister, it inspired her to do what she needed to do, which was part of her life mission. That's a case where they pre-planned some of these events to jump them into their next experience. Now, I'm not going to say the molestation has a out of purpose, or the grape, or whatever, all the different ways in which we hurt each other and hurt ourselves has a higher purpose, because everybody's reasoning is a little bit different. But what we've found in a lot of millions and millions of recounts over, I don't know, eons, I guess, in Buddhism, is that a lot of these events have a purpose in that soul's evolution for some reason. And if you want to find out what your reason for that is, I would recommend getting a hypnosis. And there's plenty of wonderful ones through Dolores Cannon's QHHT Foundation. And there's other styles as well that do the same thing. So find the one that you're attracted to, and then you can get your own personal answer for why you went through those hard knocks in your life. But that's typically why good things happen to bad people, because those people, it's an opportunity for them to fix the bad and completely eliminate it. So the Steen guy, his contribution, as disgusting as it is, and you can't unhear it, even if you didn't go through the stuff, just a little bit was enough to just kind of gross you out forever. That reverberates for the rest of the universe of what not to do. Okay, no one's going to even want to touch any of that kind of stuff. So it's a big life lesson for the universe of how bad we can be, so that we never do that again, or never allow that again. So the minute that something like that happens, it triggers a muscle and a soul memory. If you have this earth experience and are exposed to it, that you squash it immediately because you know where it goes. So that's the purpose of something like that to exist. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And it's a very complex thing to come to grips with when bad things happen to good people or innocent people. And then because there's no other logical way of understanding it outside of everyone's on a journey, and that journey is something that maybe you don't understand.
Does Johnny, do you have any other questions? Anybody else have any other questions?
I do have. You've heard of those kids that, like little kids, they go to the museum and all of a sudden they were part of World War II. They have these remembrances. Is that is that reincarnation, or is that just like deja vu, or what would you consider that? Did souls get swapped around at that time or something?
Well, again, it depends. So it could be a memory of a previous life you had. So it could be a reincarnation memory. But also, Starseeds there's an exception. Starseeds didn't live all the lifetimes that they technically did live, because in order for them to be prepared for the Earth experience, sometimes they went into the Great Library, took out different books of basically different lifetimes, opened them up, got immersed. Oh, okay. I did kind of like download. They got the download of that, of what it feels like to be this, what it feels like to be that experience, etc. And so then when they go into this lifetime, they're a little bit more prepared because they're not completely innocent. They've had a little bit of experience of different lifetimes. So sometimes when they think they're reviewing a lifetime that could be their past life, it could just be a download from the Great Library prior to this incarnation. Okay. So, but regardless, we're all interconnected anyways. We're all part of Source. So all lives ever lived is an aspect of Source anyways. So it might as well be your experience. It doesn't really matter if you really did live that lifetime or didn't live that lifetime, because technically we're all experiencing it together anyways.
So I have a question for you, and this is not meant to make anybody uncomfortable, but within like the Abrahamic religions, there is the thought of fallen angels, right? And the idea that the Tower of Babel was built by the great hunter, and then God smashed it and sent everybody all over the world with different languages, and then put these fallen angels in positions to kind of rule over that. And that's why we have all these different religions. There is within some of the Christian, what's the word? Sect, that some of these like Shiva and all of these other ones are fallen angels. What is your thoughts on that?
I've had over the decade, I've had different clients recall being giants in previous lives.
Ooh, jeez.
Okay.
I would love
And
that.
oh yeah. And not all giants, if you want to say, are necessarily bad, just like not all humans are bad. So I would caveat for ET races, just like anybody else, just tread lightly. Don't just run up and just, be too excited because you just don't know. So, wait, see, kind of discernment is a number one lesson in Buddhism is to practice discernment in all things. So, but yeah, I would practice discernment in making judgment calls that all giants are bad. Now, placement is a concern because they take up a lot of resources and space. Okay. So placement here might be an issue with kind of like spacing and resources, especially if they're as big as they are. I've had I had a hypnosis. I actually put it on my website. I had a hypnosis session with a client, and then I completely forgot about it. And I mop my hardwood floors a couple days a week, and I have for over a decade of living in this house. And I had a dream that I had had this hypnosis with a giant, but then I woke up. But then all of a sudden there was this huge footprint where you could see the digits in my hardwood floors.
Whoa.
And it looked like heat. It was an imprint. It looked like heat, like heated. And I measured there's 6 toes. They all have 6 toes. And I put it into AI calculator, and they said based off of this person would be about 14 feet. Well, my foyer is taller than that. So that's the only place that I could have that kind of hypnosis session. And that was my dream, that I was just sitting there in the foyer and I was hypnotizing him, and he just wanted to know, just different things. Very nice being. But the issue is size. And in our reality, in our world, we might not have the space. So we might have to, if we're going to be a reality where there are giants, they may have a conversation. Let's find you a planet or another planet, because this is not going to work. Okay, so sizing has always been an issue, but there, in history, even in Buddhism folklore, there are cases of very tall giant people, ETs, mermaids, not dinosaur, dragons, etc., etc. You go into the folklores, but the thing is, there is a folklore that in olden days people were much taller. We were the giants. They're all bad. There were some bad ones, and they went down their path. And over time, because so many more souls wanted to incarnate into this beautiful planet and try out this experience, there was an issue of space. So according to the folklore, the old Buddhist folklore, people over time shrunk to make space for everybody else to have their experience. So that's just one perspective about these giants. And that's just from Buddhist folklore.
I understand that in Vedic astrology, there is the story of God trapping 2 or 3 entities in this reality. In Hinduism, there is discussion of God trapping 3 to 4 entities. In Abrahamic religion, it's 33% of the angels. Is there any thoughts on that? The Christians think that the Buddhists, or not maybe the Buddhist, but the Hindu God is a fallen angel, and any of that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
So the perspective on like the blue beings, like Shiva and Vishnu and all of that, is that they're ETs from a different planet that house much larger beings. And that's why they're blue. The blue because that was the conditions of their planet, just like we have our skin colors because that's the conditions of this planet and our sun. So if we were in different planets, we would also have different skin tones, et cetera, et cetera. But the old folklores held in Buddhism is that the very, very old ancient ones, like your Vishnus, like your et ceteras, they were ETs on a different planet, and they came here kind of as a tourists, to kind of see this beautiful planet, and they decided to settle here. Okay, but because they're so advanced, and they're so advanced that their technology just looks like magic and it looks like art, so it doesn't look like our tech, which just metal and wires and all that. They have immersed it into like artwork that you can't really tell. So they came here, they integrated, they got married, had kids, and just basically became part of the planet's history. But they were seen as gods because they were so much more advanced and could do things that uh, the beings here aren't able to do because we're kind of like novice souls. And they usually put the novice souls in beautiful planets, kind of Eden-like, so you don't have to struggle so hard. Okay, so you put somebody with PhD with somebody who's doing kindergarten. Of course, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you look like a god." So that's and you're so
Kinda how you see your
handsome.
mom and dad when you're really
Yeah.
small. They're
Yes.
superheroes. It's David Tell's joke. It's like when you're a kid, you think your parents are superheroes, and then you grow up, you realize they're just drunks wearing capes.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, that's the myth about Shiva and Vishnu and all that. Now, for in Asia, are ascended ancient ones. They're not dicks like the one that you guys have in like Abrahamic. So I can't speak about them, but I can speak about the ones in Asia. So we don't really have issue with the ancient ones, and they have moved on. They don't really come in. They know better than to come in and mess with the kiddie pool. You know, so if they do come in, they're gonna reincarnate or just kind of like pop up as one of us and look like us, et cetera, et cetera. So they're not going to try to disturb you too much because they know you're doing your sojourn and you're working to liberate yourself. So
So
it's a coursework.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this resonates with me. I feel it. My question to you is: we're ascending right now. We're in a new Vega. We're in a new Luga. Is it called the Lugas? The Kali Yugas?
Yuga.
Yugas. Okay. There's a lot of talk about that. Like the Yuga changed a couple of years ago. The old guard is fighting desperately to hold on to their power. I do believe that's why you're seeing all this craziness now. You know, it could be the elites look at like TikTok and how out of control everyone's gotten and be like, we got to thin this herd, dude. There's just so many crazy people out there. We got kind of thin it. But there is this desperate, whether again going back to Project Bluebeam, the vaccine, all that stuff, and this desire. Oh no, there's this new flu on these, on these cruise ships. People are, and it's person. They always love to blame it on an animal, and then that's not it. It's actually passed through
You're
human.
talking about that hantavirus thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Boy.
like that's
the hantavirus in every movie is always the one before they get to the one they made up for the movie. They're like, it has the properties of hantavirus, but it's aerosolized. You know what I mean? That's a gnarly one.
Again, they're going to like break in case of emergency. This
It's like
seems,
Ebola, basically.
right? It's like this is like, man, we're losing it
coming.
here. We got to play our final hands, right? Let's just say they do it. It doesn't work. We start to ascend. What does that look to you? What does that look like to you?
Okay, so that's why I don't predict the future, but I can tell you possible realities. Okay, and actually, I'll bring an example from Dr. David R. Hawkins, my consciousness teacher. He actually talked about this before he passed away in some of his lectures about the possible future parallel realities. He got into parallel realities in the end of it, and he's like, and he was kind of upset because he's like, "Sorry, seriously, now you tell me about this? This is the good stuff." I was talking about the boring stuff, consciousness. But so he was talking about it. But basically, they're in a parallel because all time is parallel, future, past. It just depends on the perspective. But in a parallel future reality, there is a planet, Earth, that is full of ascended beings with 6 senses. Okay, they become a completely different species of humans. They still look human, but they're all like, can you imagine just eons of Yeshuas and Miriams walking around? Okay, what that's like. Okay, but they have discernment. They're responsible. They're not going to misuse their sixth senses. So it's like a planet of X-Men. Okay, that's he called them Homo spiritus. Okay, there's a race of human beings in the future, Homo spiritus. So all of you and I and all these people who are like into this awakening, ascension, raising frequency, forgiving, healing, understanding, all that kind of stuff, that personal work that raises your frequency high. We're like addicts to raising frequency. We're like, how can we go higher and higher and higher in the physical form before we liberate and return to source? And so we understand this whole thing. We go into and create a reality where it's basically like the X-Men on planet Earth. And then we go and, according to the folklores, we go and we pay homage to Yeshua's tomb and Miriam and, all the different teachers that we have come to know that gave us this knowledge and helped us evolve to this level. So all of these beings go into a future reality of Homo spiritus. We are spacefaring within the Matrix. We kind of like, Star Trek, and Q in Star Trek, where Q was a being from a race of ascended masters, basically.
The Q continuum, yes.
Yes, the Q. We are the Q continuum, but not like him. So there's Star Trek, and then there's the Q continuum, which is basically the dimension of all of the ascended masters. Well, we enter into that reality with Earth and these Homo spiritus. Okay. So if you're in this work and this resonates with you and you're having these Mandela effects, these compression time, these skips and whatever, and your frequency is high enough to have those ET experience, but they're not bad ETs, they're good ETs. All these kind of like interesting anomalies that you're experiencing. You're manifesting things really quickly, et cetera, et cetera. You're probably on the track for the Homo spiritus reality in your next incarnation. Now, if you're not on that track, okay, and there's a lot of religious people there too, but they don't. It's religion in the future isn't as defined as it is now. Isn't as a barrier. It's kind of like your culture. You're from this culture, you're from that culture. It's just kind of like an ingredient of your makeup, but it's not a defining factor of who you associate with and et cetera. It's not as polarizing as humans in this lifetime see it. It's just a pathway that you took that led you through to that reality or through to nirvana. So anyways, for other people, they may be experiencing different parallel futures. Okay. So there are all parallel futures. There might be a parallel future where it's like the Greys that came back in the future. And it's been going around TikTok where the scientists that talk about anything space, quantum physics, all that, they've all been kind of like X'd out. And one was talking about how the aliens or ETs in the future actually are us. And they came back to this time to tell us not to do whatever explosion happens that destroys the planet and turns us into this, I don't know, ET or gray looking being. They don't even look gray. They just look like emaciated people with
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
There's a lot of talk about that right now.
P47, P52, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we, in that version of reality, and these are just possibilities, so it depends on which game you're going into, if you choose to return. But in that version of reality, even if your spirit wanted to go into the Homo spiritus version of reality, if your frequency isn't high enough, you can't go there. You don't meet the metrics to go into that experience or that curriculum. Okay, so you're going to go into the ones that match what you're working on. So in that one, the explosion may not be from nuclear. Okay, it could be an explosion from a massive plant that's sucking all the water and sun and energy and everything else, and then it
Data
explodes.
centers.
Okay.
Data centers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to say it, but something like that. It may not be from war. Okay, but because in Tibetan Buddhism, and we know this, the mountain that is around Tibet, there's a side that looks kind of like a pyramid, and there's a side that's it looks like it had radiation, and the area down, they've done reports on the geology, and it has track records of radiation from some kind of bomb. Okay, so it was bad enough that it destroyed the area and kept it kind of desolate for a while until the radiation left. So that's just facts. Okay, so in that version of reality with the P4752 possibility, okay, it's going to take an explosion so much that it affects everybody. And in order to affect everybody in that way, you have to have something that sucks up all the energy of the sun over time, because this is like 52,000 years, all the energy of the sun, all the water, okay? And yes, the water will evaporate, it'll come back, but it doesn't replenish that quickly, okay? And it has to suck up all the land, all the resources. So what's left to suck up for energy?
I don't know what. Us.
Well, like the Matrix.
Yeah. So when you run out of water, you
Whoa.
run out of land, you run out of sun to power this thing that you are addicted to for your livelihood, there's nothing else to suck up. So that reality is what happens to the people. But then
Whoa.
the next iteration is that. So that is a very dire reality. That's what that reality doesn't have very many souls incarnating into that reality. It's a very small reality with a very small amount of people compared to most people end up in the higher realities.
Wow.
So it's not always going to be war and nuclear war that is the defining factor that changes our physiology.
So okay, so I know we don't want to keep you much longer, but my question to you is, within the Abrahamic religions, there's things that's seen as sins. You know, obviously taking out murder, raping, you know, hurting people like that. But there's a lot of other sins. Where does that fall into your worldview, your belief?
Okay,
Are
so
sins going to cause you not to get into heaven or whatever?
well, there are different levels of heaven, according to Buddhist perspective, and heaven. So, you know, also if you go through nirvana, you just basically go into empty space and you become an energy being traveling the universe and trying different things and so forth. Or you could just kind of hang out with source. But heaven again is kind of an illusion that's created within consciousness. Okay? It is a creation within our own consciousness so that we have a place to be on the other side. But technically, the Buddhists see the other side with source as spiritual emptiness. That's why they call it the void of nothing. It's the blue screen of the computer. There's nothing on that blue screen. That's the energy of source. So even the concept of heaven is a program on the blue screen.
Okay. So you're just saying there's levels of consciousness and that the theory of heaven isn't real?
Yeah, it's a concept that we create within our consciousness, and it feels real because like this feels real.
Like an Elgor almost?
Yeah, it's a experience within the blue screen. The blue screen is source. I'm doing computer analogy for most people, but the blue screen, the board, has nothing in it. And once you decide as a user you want to experience something, then you start programming or drawing the concept, the thought, and then that thought comes into form. And your consciousness goes in and borns into that experience.
Do you mean empty? Like, have you seen the movie Bruce Almighty, where it's just empty? Is that what you mean? Where there's like
Like
completely-
the void,
formless?
void,
It's
like formless, energyless, formless.
Sounds like in the beginning, you know.
In the beginning,
Genesis.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's also that this is the material. This your body. This chair. These things, and as
Maya.
you send up,
Maya, yes, this is all Maya. Even spirit world is Maya.
and then as you send up, it becomes less and less material and more energy, and to the point there is no form.
Yep.
It's just energy.
Yep.
And what you're-
That's source.
And
yeah,
what-
that's
and when we're in there, we have a thought or a consciousness to come down to the material, to experience the material, and then go back to source.
yeah. So like in Buddhism, and I found this with my hypnosis clients as well, and so as many others, that there are many source code souls that come from void. Just like Dr. David R. Hawkins, they come from void, they come from source. This is their first incarnation into the physicality. So they're here to do their mission, to raise consciousness. But source is the void of everything. That's where everything has been thought of. Source is a very creative individual or creative being, and it's an aspect of a greater source. So, you know, how that matriculates. But basically, when you go further and further into being and reintegrating of source, there is no form, there is nothing. It's the void. It's the spiritual, and it's a very happy place. And everybody's that's there is there. So you can feel everybody and, you know, conversate and all that. But even the beings, the Q continuum, let's say that, the Q continuum with source, even they will think into form the concept of heaven or spirit world, etc., that they like, just so that they can have a platform to engage in and live about, you know, because it does get boring for infinity to just be in void. It gets boring.
You're just like, oh man, we're just existing in energy.
That's it. They're just existing. That's what the source is. It's just an abundant existence, a void, a spiritual emptiness. So they do manifest and create the spirit world. Hell is a construct as well. That souls will create to work out their inner demons, I guess you want to call it. But so everybody's having just different experiences. But to your question, you got me lost there. What was your question again, Sam?
These concepts of sins.
Sins. To your question of sins, in Buddhism, there are no mistakes. You either pre-planned them or you created that experience for your learning lesson. Okay? You never make business mistakes. You just make learning lessons so that you can create better and better business down the road. Everything, and in hypnosis, as I get a lot of starseeds that own businesses, hotels and different things, and they or writing books, whatever, starting retreats, etc. And when they ask about, I had this one experience and the answer always comes back, that was for your learning lesson. You needed to go through that lawsuit because you're going to make 20 times the income in your next business because all the things you learned from those mistakes. And so you needed to go through that so you know what not to do because you have 20 times more to lose. Okay? So that's in Buddhism, we see it the same way, that these quote, quote, sins, the only people that see it as sins are humans, because we like to put placements on each other, you know? And that's our journey too, to see that nobody's better than anybody else, that nobody's special. Everybody's on their own journey and they're evolving in their own time, whatever things in their soul journey they're working through. But everybody has different relationships. They have different set of kids. They have different career paths. Everybody's a little bit different, even though they might be working for the same company or whatever the situation is. So there's a reason for that, because you all have your own custom pathway back to source. So they're not sins. They're just learning lessons. And the faster you see it as learning lessons, what can I learn from this? How can I learn from this? You know, how can you dissect it? How can I apply the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path in Buddhism as an example to get insight on this so that I don't repeat this mistake over and over again for this lifetime and then have to come back and do it again in the next lifetime in different ways, then you can accelerate that learning experience, not have to go through that, and then go to the next thing because you have bigger and better and greater things to experience and you only have so much time to do it. So try to condense the time it takes to learn the lesson in that quote, quote, sin so that you can propel yourself to the next best experience as fast as possible. That's how we see mistakes.
One of my favorite things I've learned from you, and this we'll wrap it up on this, is the notion that the universe warns you and then it shows you. Do you remember telling me that?
Yeah.
I'll
tell you something else too. I'll tell you something else really quick. When you ask a question, why did I break up with the love of my life, for example? When you ask a question about something that's really impactful in your life, the universe will answer your question through a series of actions. You'll move forward, you'll meet somebody else, you'll marry that person, you have kids, and you're like, I am so glad I didn't marry that person. That would have been a messy relationship. I'm so happy for the person that I ended up with because this is really the love of my life. It answered your question after you asked the question through experiencing the answer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It reminds me of and this is something I've observed in life too. I was warned once by someone in church that I respected to be very careful when praying for wisdom. In certain experience, because wisdom, it's not like it's a download. Typically, it's something you have.
It's an experience.
It's an experience, yeah. And I've observed that in my life. When I just to ask it, you have to be. There's something very true about being very, what would you say, conscious, aware when you're praying, because those things you can get those things, but it's often, and it's not like a horror film or something where it's like, hey, be careful what you wish. It always comes in like a twisted way or whatever. It's not like that. That's not what I mean. But yeah, sometimes it can, the way these things are delivered is a little. But I do find, don't you find that we get mostly even if we don't realize we're asking for or what we ask for? You know what I mean?
It's manifestation, which a lot of people think is demonic, but I don't believe. I believe it's the energy field.
Your attention has to go somewhere. Yeah.
And what you put your attention. I was listening to Colin Cowherd. I'm a sports guy. I still listen to AM radio, and he was talking about he does that all the time. He sits down, he writes it down, he visualizes it. I tell everybody new in recovery, what do you want to do with this recovery? What do you want to do with your sobriety? It's like you got to have a plan, man. You can't just get in the car and drive. You know where you're going. What do you want to do? Shoot for the stars. We've had many people on. I've talked about trans surfing, not about cross dressers in Hawaii. It's about the notion that there's a million versions of you. What version do you want to be? And there's a version where XG is somehow president. There's a new rule. But what's it going to take for that to happen? Is he going to be happy trying to do that? Or is there a version that's a lot easier for you that's going to make you just as happy and fulfilled? That's what you have to understand. All things are possible. You just have to figure out what is the one version that will make you happy and bring you peace.
Right. And there's been a lot of quantum jumping. He's an old teacher that has deceased. MindThink or Mindfield, whatever. It's a company that sells resources for spiritual practices. But anyways, they bought his material. Bert Goldman, and he had talked about, because he had the image of Earth, one kind of like Dolores Cannon's also. One side is in fire, the other side is wonderful. There's two parallel realities where Earth splits. So this was back in the early 90s. Where he was teaching about quantum jumping. And it's the same exact thing. There's multiple versions of you. Each version has a different frequency. So they're like different clothes that your soul wears. So if you want the version where, let's say you have a very successful business, that person has different attributes that make that reality successful. Okay, so the version of you that's kind of like second guessing yourself and having some confidence issues and whatever, that version does not fit or match that frequency. So you have to feel that frequency of you and then accept it and be it and know it and all that good stuff. Like it has to like resonate with you. So that's why it's easier for most people to slowly work up their frequency, because then it becomes, oh, this is my new, and they get used to it instead of just jumping from
The
one to
journey of
another. Because
life.
because the contrast is too
It's
too
almost
new
like
for most
who
people.
get stuff too quickly. For somehow it just worked out and they got it and they just aren't ready for it.
And they lose it all because they don't have the frequency to hold that.
Yes, there we go. That is fire. Vaughn, great episode.
Real quick, one last message.
Okay.
One last message, because I know we're talking about how to get the most out of samsara, the wheel dharma, moksha, on your way to nirvana. The last message that I get from Source from all of my hypnosis clients over the last decade is this, and I put in this message. So I want to leave your audience with this. So the message is, you've always been enough. Use the gifts and resources all around you to create the life that you want to experience. A life full of joy and love. The spirit world will nudge you through synchronicity. You can do it.
That's fire.
That's right.
You are good enough. Why not you? And it's just like, but you have to believe it's possible. Are you writing it down? Are you visualizing? Are you doing it? It's possible that you can live the life you've always wanted to live. You just have to raise your frequency. I love it, Vaughn. That was great. It's always an honor. We can't go this long again without talking.
I know, but maybe next time Jane Goodall will be back.
Yeah. Dude, if she comes back, we're instantly doing a show.
Maybe that's why I think it's so long, so she has the time to come back. Because if we did it a month from now, it wouldn't work. But if we did it like 2 years or a year,
look who's back. Good old Goodall.
Yeah, it should be our emblem for
Vaughn, one more
a
time.
monkey or something. I don't know.
One more time. Tell them where they can find you.
My website, Merkaba Chakras. And thank you so much for having me. Blessings to everyone on your journey back home.
We love you. Thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure, and we got to do it again soon. All right, let's break down the episode. Yeah, basically, Von Galt, I love her, dude. It's a great one. That was a great episode, as always. Cool. I felt like I had to ask her about fallen angels. I thought she answered that really great, because that tends to be the Abrahamic religion view of all the quote-unquote pagan religions, that they worship fallen angels.
Oh, interesting.
What's your thoughts on that, Johnny?
Do I think that they worship fallen angels, or what are you asking?
The Buddhist.
Do you think they worship fallen angels?
See, I never had heard it put that way until I started hanging out with you freaks. So I don't.
I'm offended by that.
I don't know. I mean, they would. What I was taught would be that they're idols, that they're false idols, false gods.
Interesting.
Whatever that means. Now, there's going to be a big group of a large group of people in our listenership that are not going to react. Not going to take this on board. What they heard. They're going to be like, nah, that's not it.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that the people who listen to the show are open-minded to hearing different stuff.
But we're going to see
and
in the comments.
understanding is that we're not questioning anyone's religion.
They're going to be like praying for you to find
We're
Jesus.
We're Team Jesus here.
100%.
We are Team Jesus.
Yeah, there's also a real negative reaction among evangelicals, especially to anything that feels like you're your own God. You know what I mean? It's not God's will.
Did you get that from her? I didn't get that.
No, but but anything that kind of even smells of that, like you can materialize things yourself. What are you doing? What is that? Are you doing the little thumb? This thing?
Yeah.
This? Yeah. I don't know what you're doing. It's not this, though.
It's not that good. Johnny can do it.
No, you got to do it with this finger.
I can't do it with that.
I can't even see your thumb while you're doing it.
It's right there, dude. It's right there.
What you're doing it like this.
I bet you Sam's been trying to do
it. It's like
it.
this.
Yeah.
You don't rip your knuckles around. You don't make a fist. You hold your fingers up and then do it like
and
that.
It's supposed to be your finger.
No, hold your fingers up.
Hold your finger, yeah, like that.
No, on your the hand with the thumb.
I'm done. I don't care.
He's trying to do the thing where he pulls his thumb off.
I don't care. I don't care.
You know, you're jerking off.
You know what the funniest part is? He's been doing this to his daughters, and his daughters don't know what he's doing.
Yeah. I used to love doing that. My nephew, like pulling his ear off, or pulling his nose off and finding it behind his ear, that whole thing. I used to love Dude, I remember when I was a kid, they did what I realized now was the dumbest magic show I've ever seen when I was a kid. What the guy would do, he would have these two wooden cutouts of rabbits.
Yeah.
And one would be red on one side. They're both red on one side and blue on the other.
Yeah.
And he would go, all right, now I'm going to transport this one over to this one. He just turned it around. He'd be like, now it's... and we were all just amazed by it. And I'm like, wait a minute. That was just you just literally flipped that rabbit around.
Still that amazed?
Oh, I was so impressed.
Wouldn't that be the best if you would be like, oh, dude, he did this sweet magic?
I mean, I remember I love Penn and Teller, like I've always loved, and I went to see them in Vegas, and that's probably the best magic show in Vegas. I sat too close and could see, like I sat in the front row, and I could see how they did. Like I could see them off side stage, like hiding things and sticking shit in the tubes and stuff.
It's better than Copperfield?
Oh, Copperfield sucks. Yeah.
I saw him like 10 years ago.
Well, maybe he gave a shit
He's
then.
just going through the motions.
We talked about
He's
BS.
like, any day they're going to arrest me for Epstein. He doesn't care. He's just trying to make as much money for his legal defense as he can.
Now, see, and going into it, I wanted to like him because I remember that news story we talked about on BS years ago where he was getting mugged. And he did an illusion on the mugger to make him think he didn't have any money in his wallet.
Oh.
He did this like sleight of hand thing where he showed his wallet and it was empty, even though he had like thousands of dollars in it. And it got out of the mugging somehow with magic. So I was like, oh, he's cool. And then I get there, and he couldn't give a fuck, dude. He like has clearly got the whole thing memorized beat for beat. It's like you've seen comedians where they know their act so well that they barely...
They've been doing the act so long.
Yeah, it's just like rote, And he was just like, and now I'm going to go over here to lovely, what is your name? Tammy. Okay, Tammy, would you please look into the eyes of the audience? Isn't that amazing, folks? I mean, just monotone, dude. He couldn't give a fuck about being there. Like trying to get through it as fast as he could, ripping through that shit, man.
Yeah, but what's worse than that? Knowing you're going through the motions or having to be like a rock band that had like one album hit and they have to play that album all the time and fake enthusiasm.
Yeah,
like Johnny, was it you that showed us the B-52s?
B-50, yeah, it was.
Like Love Shack.
It wasn't even Love Shack. It was what was the other one? Fuck.
I can't hear you.
What was it? Yeah, but it was that. I mean, that they also weren't bought. That one of them was pissed drunk. You could tell was the one lady,
chick.
Yeah, the chick, but not the main chick. The other chick. What song were they singing?
She's the only one dancing, angry.
Yeah, it was. Was it Rock Lobster? Maybe it was Rock Lobster.
What a song.
I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, and it was. Oh, they were terrible. Yeah, there was a clip of them going around. It was just like, oh, Frankie Valli would be jealous of this enthusiasm, but he's the only one. Oh, they were terrible.
Guys, go to samtripoli.com. Huntington Beach.
Got me a car. It's as big as a whale. What a dumb song.
Huntington Beach. Running my special on the 18th at Hollywood. Austin, shoot my special. Costa Mesa, Albuquerque. The 1000th episode of in Austin, and then St. Petersburg, the Joke World. Go to Sam Tripoli, all the dates there. Join my email list. Get on it. We're sending them out weekly. Weekly list.
That's happening now?
Yeah.
Nice.
When's my specials? What's my dates? When are the live streams? I'm going to start putting that out on Sundays. Live streams that week. They're always going to be the same. Noon on Monday for Cash Daddies. 4 p.m. Pacific on for Doom Scrolling. And then I have to do 1 o'clock Broken Sim. Can you do that, Johnny?
Sure. Perfect.
That's our story.
I
go
like
down
around that time a little bit.
and then just premium content. Cash Daddies, check it out. Actually, go up to Cash Days. Johnny, talk about Cash Days, and then we'll wrap it up.
It's been the markets have been up and down, but they were down today. Howie has been, up today, sorry. And Howie has been riding that wave. We all have.
Riding that wave, high on cocaine.
A good community of people who are probably all high on cocaine, trading stock futures in Asia and stuff. Yeah.
Go down and then check out Dying Laughing. That's the greatest doc. Chaos Twins coming,
It
and
really
then
is.
finally check out Chemical Free Body for supplements I love, and all of our our affiliate programs. I'm telling you, you'll need all of it. Anything for you, dude?
Check out my podcast, Extreme Marks the Spot. Go check it out, please.
Check it out, Broken Simulation. It's a podcast with Sam Tripoli. He's on it.
You need to check out my new special on YouTube.com/Sam Tripoli. It is it's a crowdwork special. It's 36 minutes.
Modestly called Hero.
It's about a guy who tells a story about being a hero. Nope, you just can't get it, can you? It's just you have one fucking job.
It's right there.
Unbelievable, dude.
Right there.
Unbelievable.
It's got the numbers. Look, you're almost at 10K. It's got the numbers.
It's great. It's a good show.
Check it out.
And then World War Debate news is coming. I will get it to you. I promise you. ASAP. Back to Von Galt. I love that shit. I love it all.
Me too. Yeah, I guess I got derailed, but yeah, the Fallen Angels thing, maybe, but and then people, evangelicals do have a problem with anything that is not in the book, in the Bible. And I respect that.
What does Bible stand for, Johnny?
What does Bible stand for? I mean, it just means the holy book, I think, right?
But is there why they use Bible?
You think it stands for something like book?
Bible? Someone was saying that.
Oh,
Hey, did you guys watch?
I mean, it wasn't even a book, but it was a bunch of. There's all
tablets,
scattered
right?
before that. Yeah, it wasn't like one thing, and then it got pulled together.
I'm a Jesus guy, Johnny. Hey, did I tell you I went to church?
Where?
For the first time?
That church you were talking about the other day?
Yeah, I went to it.
How
it was
was it?
pretty cool, dude. I really enjoyed myself.
Was it a modern, like, where they shake your hand and welcome you? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't find it at first because it's like two sides of Topanga or Ventura were churches. I went to the wrong side, and then they told me
you went to the Korean church? Yeah.
Yeah, and I went to
What
it.
you doing here?
What you do here?
Go away, white boy.
Should we do this on Von Galt's episode?
What? What do you mean?
Should we be doing our bad
Asian? She's Asian.
She's not Korean.
Oh, okay. Pastor Jared Pinson is his name. Pastor Jared Pinson. I went to. He's part of the Swarm, and he invited me.
He is? Wow.
Yeah. So I went down, and it was very cool, dude. It's very different than the church that I remember when I went with my mom.
Dude,
Jared Pinson?
Yeah, Pastor Jared Pinson.
Like Theo Pinson.
You stayed the whole time?
Tar Heel.
I got there late and I stayed the whole time and I watched the band rock out.
Well, what I was going to ask you is like, all I remember is, at least all I remember, I mean, I didn't like the church a lot, but when you leave, everybody's happy.
Yes.
That's all I remember. There's
Everybody's
food,
smiling and
everybody's happy. I don't know if they're happy that it's over, but they're happy. Everyone's like, there's food.
I enjoyed it. He was crushing, dude. He was on fire.
Yeah, you see, the church I went to as a young man, and I still have a taste for this.
You went to
church.
a black church, right, Johnny?
No.
Okay, I thought you went to black people
we had
church.
no black people. in our church. Very
so rude, dude.
It's very particular about not being black. In fact,
you know what's really weird? Okay, go on. I guess.
Well, there was no band. We did hymns that we all sang out of the book. That was it. There was no instruments. It was very not lively.
And you like that?
I prefer it. Yeah, I don't want to sing. I don't want to get up and jam out because most of the music.
You don't want a guy to do a guitar solo
I
about
think it mostly
Jesus?
sucks. Yeah,
I love it, dude.
You know, I had the. Billy Corgan has this take. He was like, I think Jesus would like better music, and I was like, yeah, that's how I feel about most Christian
That's very
music.
interesting.
I grew up with Johnny, where as a Catholic, there's no band, there's no guitarist.
Like
it's
that.
very.
Yeah.
You
I
sing,
loved it.
But I kind of wanted the band. I kind of was like, I wish I would have gone to a church like that. But he's right. What if you're not in the mood to sing? Like, what if you really
Then
are?
don't sing.
But then everybody's out there.
They annoy the shit out of you.
Yeah, they're gonna annoy the shit out of me. Where I'm like, yo, I came here to like
the rock, bro.
But they also do in other churches. Like my church didn't even do this. A lot of churches. In fact, I remember the first time I went to a church that did this, and how just shocked out of my shoes I was. They did this thing at the beginning. They're like, now turn to your left and turn to your right and greet the person next to you. Give them a hug. And I'm like, I don't want to.
Oh,
I don't know this guy.
That's part of Catholic.
Yeah,
you
or
wake
like
up and you shake their
like
hand.
somebody new, you know, you introduce
So
yourself.
gross,
Like,
Johnny.
no, thank you.
Why won't you hold a Christian, you scumbag?
I don't want to meet anybody. I just want to get the word and leave. You know.
Yeah.
Johnny brings up not allowing black people near his family.
It wasn't like to be clear, it wasn't formal.
So Johnny's from a clan, anyways. So I saw the Michael Jackson movie. Did you guys see it yet?
I heard it was shit. Is what
No,
I heard.
I loved it.
Oh,
I
really?
guess I enjoyed it because I'm going to talk about it on Broken Sin, but there was a moment where Michael Jackson wants his music video on MTV, and he's talking to the record exec, and he's like, Michael, we can't do it. They don't play black people. And
I'll fix that.
yeah, he goes, well, then then I'm out. I'm gone. And the guy calls, he freaks out. He's like, I'll pull fuck Bruce Springsteen, Clearwater. If you don't put him on. That's how he got on MTV. But when you hear that, you're like, damn, they were racist. But then Dana was working there at the time.
Oh wow.
And she was like, that's not it. It was a rock channel. They were playing rock bands. That's why it was all what they did. They didn't want to play pop. They didn't want to play rap. It was a rock channel.
You want to hear? It's funny you mentioned that because I just saw an interview
I'd like
with
to ask
Bowie
you-
with the guy from MTV, and Bowie is getting into his ass about not playing black artists, and it's exactly what you're talking about, dude. I'll just play this briefly. Actually, you should be able to see this.
Something,
over there.
all right.
You bring up that
It
camera,
occurred to me,
like the way
having
he's-
watched MTV over the last few months,
you want
that
me to bring in the-
it's a solid enterprise and it's got a lot going for it.
Watch how Bowie's an assassin, dude. The way he brings this up, he's like
he's
picking.
so good,
he's
dude.
like picking his shoe though, like as he's about to bring up this thing that is going to knife. Can you pull it over to the?
It's not. I don't have it right now. Give me a second.
Oh, you're not in the Zoom anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm about to go in there right now.
So gross, guys. I asked
You can hear it though, right?
Yes.
I'll just keep playing it here, and then when you can get it, we'll bring it up.
There it is.
All right, you're in there.
Yep.
I might have to. Oh, there you go. Okay. And if you could just pull it over there, I'm just gonna keep playing it and then you can.
Just floored by the fact that there's so few black artists featured on it. Why is that?
I think that we're trying to move in that direction. We want to play artists that seem to be doing music that fits into what we want to play for MTV.
That's what he's trying to say.
The company is thinking in terms of narrow casting.
That's evident. It's evident in the fact that the only few black artists that one does see are on about 2:30 in the morning or to around 6. Very few are featured predominantly during the day.
No, that's a...
I'll say that over the last couple of weeks, these things have been changing, but it's a slow process.
I know, it's funny, I think people have different perceptions. When you wind up watching, let's say you watch an hour or 2 or even 3 a day, people somehow come away with different ideas about what we are doing. We don't have any kind of day parting for anything, let alone a black artist day parted out of what would be, quote, prime time. We don't have that.
Because one sees a lot there's one black station on television that I keep picking up. I'm not sure which station it's on, but there seem to be a lot of black artists making very good videos that I'm surprised aren't used on MTV.
Well, of course, also we have to try and do what
and
we
we're
think.
the white artists on
Not only New
BET.
York,
Exactly,
Los Angeles will appreciate, but also Poughkeepsie or Midwest. Pick some town in the Midwest that will be scared to death by Prince, which we're playing, or a string of other black faces
That's
and black
very
music.
interesting. Isn't that interesting?
That's where he loses it right
He got
there.
him. Yeah, he got him. He knew he got him too. Bowie
He
just
got
started
him.
smiling.
He got him. He said it's stupid. A simple thing should have been like, we're a predominantly rock channel. At night, we can play anything, but we're a rock channel. And obviously, MTV, Michael Jackson changed that. And I'm going to say one last thing before we go, and you enjoy the highlights. In 20 years, nobody will be talking about Joe Rogan. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Just there'll be something new that will fill in for Rogan the way Rogan filled in for Johnny Carson, right? Like it's a new thing. There will only be one thing that will last over time, and that is Michael Jackson. There were so many kids at this movie theater watching this movie. My kids are 6. They love Michael
That's
Jackson.
so interesting. See, I have no taste for Michael. I mean, he's fine, but I have no, like, especially after all the pedo stuff. I'm just like, oh.
Well, which is a very interesting.
Where are
thing.
you on that now? Because I know you've always thought like the Tiger Beat thing.
I know, which is crazy to hear that you kind of are on the he is a pedo, and then you want to go watch the movie, which is, I mean, I guess it's you can separate them, which I agree, but
well, it's also that like my kids love him, they don't know about that.
What
Can I
what
tell
song
you
do they like,
something?
though? Like, what song are they into?
They love Chicago. They love Billie Jean. My daughter loves Thriller, but is scared of the music video.
Scary, yeah.
They love it all. She's just like, can we listen to Michael Jackson? Every day we're in the car. Can we listen to Michael Jackson? And we turn it on. We just jam to beat it. All that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's him and the Beatles, though. That it seemed like they have this enduring power. That
I see. Like I don't see the Beatles as big right now as what Michael Jackson
their
is.
numbers they're still like way up.
Okay, I just culturally, maybe it's just not in my world. It's just not my world. Now, here's a conspiracy for you. I think they castrated Michael Jackson.
I've heard that.
Oh yeah.
I think they castrated that guy
to keep his voice high.
Yeah, and that's probably another reason why he hates his dad. Because I'm not gonna get into the movie, but that's a big.
He does have children though that look like him, so that was
who? Which one?
Paris? You don't think Paris looks like him?
No. What?
What?
Like
Johnny, there's no coffee in that cream.
Okay.
Blanket. Have you seen Blanket?
Yeah, I forgot about Blanket. That's funny. What do they look like? Is that a girl or a boy? I don't even remember.
It's a boy. I literally just looked him up not that long ago. And then,
Now,
he doesn't like him at all.
Nephew plays him. Nailed it, dude.
His nephew plays him?
Yeah.
Whose son is it?
I don't know which one. Look it up.
Tito, Jermaine?
I don't know, but
Jafar.
dude,
No, but like,
Jafar.
whose father is he?
Oh, I don't
like,
know.
Who's he the son of?
See. His last name is Jafar Jackson. That's the one.
I went to see the show in Vegas, the one that uses him as a hologram. It was cool, dude.
I want to take my kids to see that.
It's really cool. I highly recommend.
We want to take them, but you
Might be a
didn't
little scary.
recommend. Really, Michael Jackson?
Well, if I recall, there's like some loud stuff and like shit gets dark, shit flying. Maybe
Jermaine.
It's Jermaine's son. Okay.
Yeah, Jermaine's son.
Interesting. All right, I might go see it. The reviews were terrible.
The daughter hated it. Well,
Yeah,
the whole
Paris
family.
Jackson
The
said
whole
it was
family.
Well, Janet Jackson wouldn't be a part of it.
Yeah.
And
Paris either.
Well, she gave notes. Paris said I gave notes on the first draft, and they basically told me to go fuck myself.
Well, because she wanted it to have the grit.
Yeah, she said it has no reality.
Yeah,
to it.
because
Yeah,
it's
a
literally
snow job.
a movie that you could bring your kids to. That's the whole purpose of that movie.
She's a piece of shit. I heard her talk about it. She's like, they only showed the good stuff. I'm like, the stuff
that you're living off of right now.
What a piece! I'm like, dude.
Well, have you guys watched the Hogan doc on the
No,
mini doc?
I want to.
It's
I'm
fire,
about to.
bro. Dana's made docs before, and she's like, "That's one of the most beautiful docs I've ever seen."
I
in
love
my
that
life.
Corvette on the image that he's got. I want that
It's
Corvette.
fucking fire. But his daughter doesn't talk to him. When he died, they weren't talking,
So it
and she
doesn't
wouldn't
like
be a part
whitewash
of
it.
this.
It's legit.
Oh, it's legit.
Is it because of the whole N-word thing?
Oh well, it's a bunch of stuff.
All that sex shit too was crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
he
With
did have-
Bubba the Love Sponge involved and all that.
Well, you know what happened was that, like, Bubba the Love Sponge's assistant took it
the tape
and sold it. It wasn't Bubba; it was his assistant that sold it.
That was supposed to be a
But it's
secret.
crazy, right? Because right before that, he gives his wife 70% of everything. And even Dana was like, what the fuck is that? Why does she get 70% of it, right? He's
Probably
broke.
jealous,
He's broke.
Oh.
And then this thing comes and it's suddenly $150 million in his pocket. Well,
Wait, what was the thing? The tape?
He sues Gawker. And do you know who
yes.
pushed that?
Oh, yeah.
Peter Thiel.
Fuck Gawker. Yeah, because Thiel hated them for outing him and doing all that shit to him. Yeah. Also, Gawker sucked, by the way.
Gawker sucked. They're trying, First Amendment right. No, dude. That was a private thing stolen from Bubba. And then the N-word thing, again, it's just this thing with this word where it's like the fine print with it. And I understand you don't want to call, people don't want black people called the N-word with the hard R by white people. I totally get that.
Or the other one, really. They don't. Like most of them.
Nigga?
Yeah, people ain't going to hear that. Not
I'm
wanna
about
hear
to
that.
say it in my special.
You're not calling anybody it, though, right?
No, you know what I decided I'm going to call it? It's either this, just hear me out, or I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care Those are the two because I
How
say
about hear me out? Like just
hear me out. Yeah, hear me out. Hear me out, or I don't care. Because I say that a lot in my act. Because I say something, get quiet. I go, get quiet. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I love it. I hate that song.
I do. I love that song.
I fucking hate it, dude.
You know, but he gets booed at WrestleMania in LA, and he almost gets set up by the WWE. They kind of say, we knew that was going to happen.
Wait, when he's in WO or
at the end? No, at the end.
Yeah.
At the end of his, after he does Trump's whole thing, he comes out and he's like, Hulkamaniacs, and they're like, boo!
Oh no!
And it's like, come on, dude. That just lets you know what a piece of shit city LA is.
Rest in peace, Ted Turner. By the way, he died today.
Oh, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, talk about we're talking about the lady, the monkey lady that keeps
Jane
dying.
Goodall,
I
yeah.
thought that guy was dead years ago.
I think he had been suffering like for a while, like, and so they had pulled him back a little. But that people forget he was like Elon Musk of the '90s.
100%,
everywhere,
dude.
bro.
Changed everything. Changed baseball. Changed sports.
Basketball, yeah. Like, and he made he got Civil War movies made that nobody would finance. He was one of the first to really put money behind independent film. He got the Gettysburg movie made, I think, and then it was Gods in General. So it's just it's like a full. What if you are a Civil War nerd and you just dedicate millions and millions of dollars to make the movie you want to be? It's 4 hours fucking long in the unedited version. It's so like most people find incredibly boring. I like it, but it's just like it doesn't even really have a plot. It's just like what happened, from a little bit of a sympathetic point of view to the South, which I appreciate. It didn't get well reviewed, but yeah,
of course not, dude.
He loved, and then CNN. I mean, he fucked us with CNN. Let's be honest, but yeah, I have a soft
do you
spot
think
for
that was his
Ted.
purpose? Because he was a eugenicist.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's the one. That's the real dirty little secret, dude. Even in Oregon and California, they were still sterilizing people into like the 80s, and then there's some talk even in the early 2000s there were still some like in the hospital being sterilized for like eugenics boards. I don't know if every state had, but a lot. Like California had a really significant.
Johnny, you ever see the video where the black guy's at the bus stop banging that white chick who's just bent over, and then I'm
sorry, no, I haven't seen your search history. No,
and he shoots a long rope, and you're like, I get eugenics when I watch that, dude. I get it. Like, do you want that kid coming into the world? The bus stop people humping?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think I know what video this is.
Have you seen it? Where just a guy in a backpack is banging this fat white chick right there at the bus stop.
I heard,
somehow she falls off, and he shoots the longest rope.
I heard that bus stop smells like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina.
And so okay. All right, so yeah. After you looked at it, can you find it?
Wait, can we show that?
No, but I just wanted you to see it, so you have to see it too.
So I have to have that memory also. Yeah, thanks, Sam. Appreciate it, dude.
I get it. Dude.
I already see enough of your camel toe every fucking week.
I'm sorry about that, Johnny. My moose knuckles on fire. Anyways, enjoy the highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim.
Here's the thing: everything is an extension from Tim and Eric, and it just really sucks that Tim and Eric have gotten really political. It's like, if you start out political, I'm fine with you being political. But if you make it and even though Tim and Eric is not mainstream at all, Tim and Eric is the definition of alt comedy, right? And they're probably very progressive. Not probably, they are. But it just really sucks that their take on Alex Jones and how they're okay with that fucking complete and utter sham of a trial, which was so obviously bullshit. To the point that people think Alex Jones is involved with it, and he's not.
Interesting.
It was such a sham trial. Like, activist judges are the biggest threat to our democracy right now.
It wasn't even it was his own representative that screwed him.
I don't understand how a lawyer's allowed to do that, and the trial goes on. You send all the evidence to the prosecutor. Or the what is it? The complainant, the plaintiff? Is that what they call that side in a civil trial? The plaintiff? What's it called?
The plaintiff. The plaintiff is the
plaintiff, right?
Making the complaint. Yeah.
Right. So
no, I hear people saying Tom Green was the pioneer of that. Tom Green is a different thing because in Tom Green, the people being, and I adore Tom Green. Like we had him on Punch Drunk.
don't you dare say anything bad about Tom Green. I'll reach through this thing and fight you.
Love Tom Green, but
I will
that's a
fight
different
you.
thing because the people who are on the other end of it aren't complicit in it. But like with Eric Andre and a lot of these new things, the people obviously have to know that they're being screwed with
what they're walking into.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's clear that they were somehow prompted or told how to react and what to say, and that's the part of that I find kind of it hits false to me. We didn't play this. This is what Tim Heidecker, when he did go on InfoWars, started.
Did Tim Heidecker take over the Onion?
I don't.
Onion? Because I know NBC bought it out just so they wouldn't make fun of Clinton, but. Like the Onion used to do great work, and now it's just hot dog shit.
The Onion is owned by Global Tetrahedron, a Chicago-based firm.
That doesn't sound evil at all. No, that doesn't sound evil at all. Tetrahedron?
Yeah, it says it's created by that company is created by Twilio CEO Jeff Lawson and former NBC News reporter Ben Collins. So yeah, I don't unless it's happened since then. Let me see. What is Tim Heidecker's relationship with the Onion? So he went on InfoWars Air because they lost essentially the rights to go on their own air on their own website to the Onion after that trial and bankruptcy and all that stuff. This is what he went on live with the first time they streamed.
Once more, I did this earlier this morning.
Heidecker, by the way, not Alex Jones, if you're listening.
But I'm going to sip from the blood of the Forsaken. This is real human blood. You can find this at the InfoWars store. This is a human blood curated from the Forsaken and the sinners. All right, this is pure premium blood, tested, FDA unapproved. And this is just human blood. As part of my satanic ritual, I am a servant to Satan. And thank God I was able to get him and the Lord to sit down and come to their senses and get things back to before Satan was cast into hell. So I'm part of that. I'm part of the peace movement.
What is he talking about, dude?
It's thick. It tastes like blood. And this is Satan giving me the powers to continue to fight. And we will continue to fight. And I cheers to you. If you have access to the blood of the Forsaken, and of all the children, this is not blood. These are adult. This is adult blood, by the way. Ain't no question. I made sure of that because I don't want to get in trouble. But this is the blood of the Forsaken. It's hot. And it tastes good. It's giving me the power. It's like Sun Tzu said, the victor in battle seeks battle only after the victory has been won. And we will win. We will conquer. Info Warriors forever. You are the Info Warrior. Follow us. Info Wars is a movement, and you're on it now. You're on our ship. Come on board.
So that was that. What do you think? I can see you're eating. You're muted still, Sam.
What didn't they go with? What that was what they chose. What didn't they go with? If that was the best they got.
Yeah. It's just like, all right, man. Do the most obvious thing you can think of. Right?
It's like really sad that he's making fun of something that's so obviously happening with the satanic shit. It's like
Yes, that's it.
It's happening. Like you're acting like it's not happening because you're progressive, Tim, and I think I love Tim and Eric. I always have. But you're acting like you're not in a reality where everyone knows that at the highest levels they all worship dark shit. So
and when a demon possessed man just murdered a girl in Nevada, like a guy was clearly possessed by, he said he was possessed by demons. It's like, come on, dude. Not a fan of making fun of that kind of stuff. I don't know.
The only thing I hate about that guy getting the death penalty is that he's going to live for a long time. If you really want to punish that guy, you should put him in general. He should go into general population and let those guys exact the real justice that little girl deserves. Now he's going to sit in a cage, go 30 years before it happens. You know, just let him get taken care of, dude.
I'm with you. And Steven Tyler now, by the way, is somebody finally sued him for that.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app or check us out at youtube.com/Sam Tripoli.
Go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.